going on YouTube? Happy 4th of July. Hope everything is going well with you guys and your families. Today we're going to do a quick video showing some more of the collection. This time the Dreamsicle Project. Before I get into that though, I know a lot of you guys have been asking about these, our labels that we have on our tubs. These are actually being updated currently. I'm changing the design a bit and I've got them all done. If you guys follow us on Instagram, you'll see the picture of most of them are finished. We're finishing the laminating right now and the video for them. So hopefully next week will be this video and all of these guys will finally have their own name tags. So that is coming next week. But for this week, we're gonna do the collection stuff for our Dreamsicle project. For those of you that don't know what that is, I'm sure you do, but just in case, I'll show you. Here is a picture of a Dreamsicle made, I guess, popular by Justin Kabilka probably more than anybody, but they are starting to become a little bit more mainstream. They're a double recessive of lavender albino and pied, and then Justin and others are starting to work in some other genes, yellow belly, orange stream, gene X, stuff like that. So we are trying to get into the Dreamsicle project as well. However, they're still very expensive because the odds are hard to hit with double recessive of any combination. And they're fairly sought after because, as you can see, they're gorgeous. I mean, that really bright yellow, orange, and white contrast, especially if you get a good 50-50 pied, is just crazy. So the best way that we could get into it would be with heterozygous forms, which means they carry one copy of both lavender and pied, and obviously to produce a visual you need 2 copies of each, or even possible hets, which means that depending on the possible het, usually 66% or 50%, that means that that specific animal, not the clutch as a whole, but that specific animal has a 50% or 66% chance of being 100% carrier. So an animal is either heterozygous for it or not. It is either carrier of the gene or not. In the case of recessives, there is not possible carrying. It's just a term used to describe whether or not the gene might or might not be in that animal until proven otherwise. So when an animal is sold as a 66% pos het pied, that means that the pairing was more than likely 100% het pied to 100% het pied, and anything that does not produce visual in that becomes 66%, and therefore that animal has a 2/3 chance of being 100% het pied. And the only way to prove that is to breed it to either 100% het pied or a visual pied and produce visual pieds, obviously. So we have a couple here for the Dreamsicle project. That's obviously a much more cost-effective way to try to get into any kind of recessive project, in all honesty. And I'm probably going to do a video coming up on my opinion on how to build a collection like this. And believe me, I did not do it right now in hindsight. So I'll explain that in another video of how I think I would go about developing this collection if I were to start over again today with nothing. But as it stands, with the recessive stuff, you either need to make your own hets. So you buy, let's say, a visual pied female and put, a multi-codom, say a banana spider male to that visual pied, get all 100% het pieds, raise them up, breed them back to make more visuals. Or you buy multiple pairs of hets or pos hets and play the odds game and hopefully produce visuals of your own. That's kind of how we had to get into the Dreamsicle project because of the costs involved with doing it. So that's what we're going to show you today. We've got 3 animals in that project. It's actually a 2-year plan currently. We have 1 pairing for it this year, and then we have 1 pairing for it next year, and depending on how this year pans out will obviously affect next year's pairing. So let's go ahead and get started on that. The first one is the male. He'll be involved in all parts of this, obviously. But this is our male, Johnny. And Johnny came from Justin Kabilka from his Dreamsicle clutches that he's made. He is a pastel 100% double het lavender pied, double het Dreamsicle. And that just means that we know for a fact, because of the pairing, that he carries one copy of the pied gene and one copy of the lavender gene. So if you were to put, say, him to a visual Dreamsicle female, you would get either visual pieds that are 100% het lavender, visual lavenders that are 100% het pied, visual Dreamsicles, or more 100% double heads like him. He's been fantastic. He's obviously a beautiful snake. He's got a J for Johnny right there on his back, and that was completely by accident, actually. It's funny, you know, my name's Jason, my wife's name's Julia. We bought it from Justin, and his name is Johnny, and he has a J right there on his back. So it's fate. But yeah, we're really excited about him. When we got him, he was super tub defensive. Actually, he wasn't mean, but just really tub defensive. Did not want us anywhere near him. He would strike at the tub when we'd walk by and stuff like that. Now, obviously, he's more trained in on me because yesterday was feeding day, so he's trying to figure out what's going on. But obviously now I can reach in and grab him. He doesn't strike anymore. He's got nice long tongue flicks. He's just curious what's going on, and that was from lots of very deliberate handling and getting him used to us. He's still a little bit gun shy, I would say, but great animal. Just recently came out of shed. He's eating fantastic, closing in on 600 grams, so he should be pretty well to go this fall for sure. So let's show you his first girlfriend, his only one for this year. This is a shot in the dark, and she came from a Dreamsicle producing clutch, and she's just starting to finish up shed. So you'll see some shed on her head and on her back, and that she's starting to peel out of the rest of it. This girl here is 100% het lavender and 66% possible het pied. So obviously with Johnny and 100% double het, this is really long odds for us. This is my girl Daphne. Really long odds, obviously, but not completely impossible. If she does prove out het pied, then we have a shot at Dreamsicles, obviously. If not, then we'll have a shot at lavenders that are 50% possible het pied, which could still potentially produce Dreamsicles, obviously, later on down the road. So she's doing really well. She's eating great. She's about 1,600 grams now. A lot of times people, when they're talking about het pieds, they refer to the tracks and the markers. I don't know how. She's flighty. Again, yesterday was feeding day, and she's finishing the shed, so she's kind of jumpy. I don't know how much stock people put in tracks and markers, but she's obviously got really, looks like pretty nice tracks in that through here and whatnot to be het pied. The breeder I got her from, like I said, she did come from a Dreamsicle producing clutch, so we know that the gene exists in the pairing and whatnot. But her mom was also a 100% het lav, 66% pos het pied until proven to be 100% het pied. And he said that she looked identical, exactly the same marking, same coloration, same kind of tracking. So he's fairly confident she'll prove. We don't know, obviously, until we try it. That'll be the first project for this year. So fingers crossed on this one. Hopefully we can produce some Dreamsicles with her. So then the last half of the equation is for next year's pairing, and obviously it will depend on the success of that pairing there. If we produce a male visual Dreamsicle or a male visual lavender that's 100% het pied, I guess it would be 66% het pied, excuse me, because it'd be 100% to 100%. So that would give us pos het pied. Especially a male Dreamsicle. we'll use him next year instead of Johnny because the visual obviously increases your odds overall. But we have this girl here that we're raising up for next year. She will not be ready this year, obviously. But this is part 3 to our possible Dreamsicle Maker pairings. This is Betty. Betty is obviously a visual pied, a really, really nice one, a perfect amount of white in my opinion. I like about 40 to 50% normally. She's maybe a little bit lower than that, but really nice pied. And Betty is 66% possible het lavender. Picked her up from KMS Constrictors. Steven over there, he was fantastic when we got her. He did an unboxing video on Instagram and everything, and we're super excited to have her. If she does not prove out visual or het for lavender, then no worries. I mean, we'll have another beautiful pied for our pied projects. And if we do produce a visual male Dreamsicle this year by pure luck, then we'll put him to her, and if nothing else, we'll at least make more pieds that are 100% het lavender. So we can start working back that direction later on. Either way, we've got a beautiful pied female here that is 66% possible het for lavender. We'll know not this season, but next, hopefully. And that's all going to depend on this season's pairings. But that's going to do it for our Dreamsicle project. Like I said, we've got Kevin, the 100% double het Dreamsicle that's also carrying pastel, so we do have a shot at pastel dreams. Daphne, the 100% het lavender, possible het pied, so kind of the opposite of Betty here. And then Betty, the visual pied, possible het lavender. So fingers crossed this year. We'll keep you guys updated. Obviously, we'll have clutch cutting and when they're laid and when they hatch and all that stuff. Fingers crossed for some Dreamsicles. That'd be fantastic. If not, so be it. We'll keep working that direction. Stay tuned next week for the update on the labels, and we'll keep moving along with some more of the collection updates. And beyond that, hope you guys are having a great 4th, enjoying your family time, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.